You can know all the right foods to eat, have the perfect meal plan, and still struggle to stay consistent with weight loss because you have a bad relationship with food. Today, I'm sharing how to change that relationship so you can lose the weight and keep it off for the rest of your life. Welcome to the Fit and Fulfilled Show. If you're a busy professional woman who wants to finally prioritize your health and happiness, this is the place to be. I'm your host, Soraya Russell, certified macronutrition coach, mindset coach, and lifestyle transformation coach. And each week, I share practical strategies to help you build sustainable habits, boost your energy, become obsessed with what you see when you look in the mirror, and feel confident and strong in your body, all without feeling stressed, burned out, or guilty. Let's dive in. So today we're exploring the step-by-step strategy that I've used to heal my relationship with food and the same strategy my clients have used. And when this is implemented, it makes weight loss so much easier because there's not so much drama and food noise when it comes to what you're eating. And that we're able to be at peace mentally. So you're just focusing on eating food because it's nourishing, not because you feel like it's good or bad or will ruin your progress. And something I want you to understand is that no meal plan or any plan will work if you don't have a good relationship with food, because your beliefs around food basically affect the decisions that you make. For example, if you have a thought that I can't control myself around sweets, you could have a meal plan where you have one small piece of chocolate every single day, a small piece that fits within your calorie deficit. But if you innately believe that you do not have control around sweets, you're going to have one piece of chocolate, then two, then three, and that healthy, sustainable, balanced meal plan is now turned into you eating 500 calories of dessert simply because in your head you don't believe you can eat dessert in moderation. So once we change those types of patterns, everything can fit: the chocolate, the pizza, the wine, the cookies in moderation while you are losing weight. So first we have to identify the type of relationship you have with food. There are different categories and buckets that I see women fall under. So the first one is called the restrictor. This is someone who has rigid rules, feels like they have to have certain structure around food. There are certain foods that they're afraid of, and they're big on having extreme control. If this is you, it typically means that you thrive when you have a strict meal plan to follow. Eat this much broccoli, this much chicken, this much fruit, whatever it is. You feel like in control when you have those rigid rules. But then anytime that you don't follow one of those rules, you have one thing that's not included in that plan, that leads to you binging and just falling off completely. So if any of that resonates with you, I would categorize you under the restrictor category as far as your current relationship with food. The second category is the emotional eater. And bear in mind that you might fall under multiple of these categories. So the emotional eater is someone who uses food as a coping mechanism. So if you are sad, bored, lonely, even happy, excited, you turn to food to cope with that emotion. So anytime a feeling has to do with the situation involved, instead of you maybe going for a walk or just sitting with the feeling, your immediate instinct is to eat something. And you might have specific things you go towards. You might be someone who goes towards sweets when you feel those emotions. It might be salty foods, might be fast food. But basically, anytime you experience an emotion, whether it's negative and sometimes positive, the first thought you have is, what am I going to eat to celebrate this? Or what am I going to eat to cope with this? The third category I see women fall under is the all or nothing person. This is where basically you're either on track with your eating or you're completely off track. So a great example of this is, say that you plan to eat clean today. You had one cookie and now all of a sudden the entire day is ruined because of that one cookie. You had one piece of pizza at the office, your entire day is ruined. So one small derailment completely throws you off track and you feel like what you did earlier in the day did not matter because of that one small thing that you ate. The next category I see women fall under is the food obsessor. This is you if you think about food all day long. You're thinking about what you just ate, what you're eating next, if what you ate was too much, too little, if you should eat this or you should eat that. You're constantly thinking about food, even if it's not always in front of you. So these are the four categories I see most commonly: the restrictor, the emotional eater, the all or nothing person, and the food obsessor. So analyze which one of those you resonate with. It might be one or multiple, because acknowledgement is the first step to changing your relationship with food. Once you recognize which category resonates with you, what patterns you fall under, we can then move into the next step, which is changing those patterns and thoughts that lead us to those food choices. So now that we identified what categories we fall under, we want to change our perspective around food. We want to stop categorizing certain foods as good and certain foods as bad. Essentially, you want to remove morality from food. So a lot of times I hear people say, I ate bad today. And if I ask them what they ate, it's some sort of fried food, pizza, fries. Or if someone says they ate good, they had salad, vegetable, grilled chicken, fruits. Vegetables are not good. And pizza is not bad. They're just different foods with different nutrient makeups. There's no good or bad in certain foods. And this language is dangerous because when you say this food is good and this food is bad, you automatically determine how you feel about yourself based on what you ate. So if you say that pizza is bad and you eat pizza, you then think, I'm a bad person, I'm a sucky person, I can't stay consistent. You have bad thoughts about yourself because you're associating yourself with that food that you ate that you label as bad. And this is why having this all or nothing, negative, positive mindset when it comes to food is detrimental to your own weight loss journey. So instead, you want to take the language you usually use around food and make it more neutral. So some examples are, instead of saying, I ate bad today, you can say, I ate more calories than usual today. See how that's not bad or good? It's just factual. It's very neutral language. Instead of saying, I'm going to be good this week, which basically means you're going to eat cleaner, healthier, instead you want to say, I'm going to focus on nourishing my body this week. That is actually pretty positive of a statement, but it doesn't make you feel like a good or bad person based on what you ate. It's just a fact of what you're going to prioritize. And this is a big one too. A lot of people like to talk about their cheat meals and they're having a cheat meal to stay on track with weight loss. Instead of saying something like cheat meal, I'm having a meal that I enjoy. Because when you say something like a cheat meal, it makes it feel like that meal is bad. That meal is dirty. You're cheating on your diet. This is not a relationship. There's nothing to cheat on. I was talking to my friend about this the other day. They're like, oh, I don't think it's a big deal. Like if I say cheat meal or this or that, we don't realize that words have power because it's very subconscious to us. But when you pay attention to someone who uses certain language, you can see from an outside perspective how their habits are determined based on how they speak about themselves and their behaviors. So if you change the way you speak, you will change your behaviors. You might not realize that because right now you can't see yourself from an outside perspective. But if you start talking about food more positively and start talking about yourself more positively, you will make better decisions. And that's what we really want to focus on. And something I really want to emphasize is you cannot make permanent lifestyle changes from a place of hate and shame. And so when you're using this negative language about yourself and food, you're shaming yourself. You're feeling guilty about yourself. That might lead to you restricting yourself and cutting out certain things for a week, but long term, that's not going to help you stay consistent. If you want to make true changes with your habits, you have to do it from a place of self-love, fulfillment, abundance, basically good, positive places. Because when you do that, it becomes a part of your journey, a part of your story. But shame and guilt will only get you so far. So we want to eliminate that on our weight loss journey. You want to give yourself permission to eat the foods that you like because ironically, permission removes the want to binge or overindulge. Because a lot of times we want to overindulge on certain foods because we feel like we can't have them. We should not have them. I don't like the word shouldn't because it makes us feel like things are not allowed. But when you give yourself permission to say, you know what, all my favorite foods can fit. I can have this food and eat it in moderation. Paradoxically, you don't feel the need to overindulge as much because you don't feel like it's a forbidden fruit, a forbidden food. You feel like you can still have it. So the more you tell yourself you can have certain things, the less you want to overdo it because you know that they're available and readily available and not something you can only have as a cheat meal once a month or once a week. The next thing you want to do is separate food from emotions. And this is really big for my emotional eaters. Food does not fix emotions. It's a temporary fix, not a permanent one. Ice cream's not going to make you feel less stressed. Pizza is not going to make you feel less lonely. And something I want you to think about is the last time you emotionally ate. I want you to think back to it right now. Whatever you ate, think about the actual scenario, close your eyes and think about what happened. You might have ordered some pizza after a stressful day at work to treat yourself because it was a really long day. You did a lot of demanding things. Maybe while you were eating the pizza, you felt good. You felt better. You had that small dopamine hit, right? But after the pizza's done, how did you feel? Probably felt a little heavy, a little sluggish, maybe a little guilty. Maybe you have more cravings because a lot of times after eating certain foods, you want more sugary foods, more salty foods, more greasy foods. And so after the fact, you also, guess what? Still feel stressed. So eating is temporary relief for your feelings. It makes you feel better in the moment because it's a distraction and it gives you a temporary dopamine hit. That's all it is. But it does not solve the actual problem of you feeling stressed. So it's almost like you ate an extra 1,000 calories to feel not stressed for 5 minutes. And then once 1,000 calories is eaten, you feel stressed again, right? And so when we can conceptualize and understand that food does not really solve the emotional problems, and we think about that before making the decision, it can stop us from making that decision because we can look ahead on the other side and say, this is not really the solution to my problem. This is a distraction. And we don't want to focus on distractions. We want to focus on real solutions. So what we really need to do is practice emotional tolerance. Emotions are temporary visitors. They're not permanent residents, meaning if you feel stressed right now, if you just wait it out, eventually you're going to stop feeling that stress. It's going to go away. Emotions come and go, just like many other things in life. And so when you can understand that, you know that you don't have to eat something to make the emotion go away. If you have higher emotional tolerance, meaning you can handle a hard emotion without having to do something about it, you win. So a lot of people, when they experience, say, sadness, they eat, they smoke, they drink, they do something that's not positive or helpful for their health. And so because of that, they don't know how to actually manage those emotions and sit with them. What I do and what I recommend for my clients is when you experience a negative emotion, sit with it, process it. Don't run from it. As humans, we don't like to sit with negative emotions, which is why we're always looking for advice or something to distract us. But if you're feeling sadness, sit there and analyze, why am I feeling sad? Where is this coming from? What does this feeling mean to me? Is there something I can do to change it? Usually the answer is no. And once you really process that emotion and sit with it for maybe 5 minutes, then you can do something to kind of let it go. Go for a walk, journal, whatever that looks like for you. But you want to sit and process and acknowledge that you experience that emotion. It's normal. It means you're human. And then do something to say, hey, I'm letting this emotion go. Number one, you'll be able to let it go a lot faster because you didn't run from it. And number two, you didn't eat 1,000 calories worth of takeout or pizza to try and run from it temporarily just for it to come back with the guilt that also comes back with it because you also ate this food that you did not plan to eat. So something I recommend is building an emotional toolkit. So have 2 to 3 activities you go to for different types of emotions. So if you experience boredom, that could be walking, reading a book, going on a bike ride. Like those could be your 3 things. For sadness, that could be crying. It could be journaling. It could be calling your mom. And crying is a good thing. Like when you feel the need to cry, it's best to just let it out because when you suppress and try and hold it in, you're probably going to look for something else to distract you once again, like food. If you feel sad, cry, girl. Let it out. Let it out. You will feel better. If you're feeling stressed, maybe that's going for a walk, doing a breathing exercise, doing some yoga. But have an emotional toolkit where you have certain activities that are healthy that you can go towards to process your emotions, or after you process the emotion and sit with it, things you can go to kind of let it go. When you build this toolkit, you have so many different things you can turn to versus eating food. And once you do those things, you'll feel so much better because you felt in control and you didn't let food control you. For example, we had a client who really struggled with emotional eating. She worked a very stressful job. She was an executive, so she was making a lot of big decisions every single day, working long hours. And so whenever she had a long day at work, which was a lot of days, she'd always treat herself to something. That could be some dessert, it could be takeout. And so she would tell herself, I have so much going on during the day. I don't eat that much during the day because she's working all the time. So I feel like if I'm going to eat at the end of the day, I want it to be something I enjoy, something that takes the stress off, something that makes me feel good. But she was like, I know as a result of that, I'm struggling with my weight. I don't have a lot of energy. I feel like I could even be performing better at my job. But because I don't really eat and I eat at night, I feel like I don't have enough energy to really give it my all. So we worked through to figure out what category she falls into. So emotional eating was one of them. She was also an all or nothing person. So she was either in a season where she was trying to eat clean, go to the gym, or she was just working and not taking care of her physical and emotional health. And so with that, we helped her create a game plan of, okay, let's first prioritize when we can get our meals in during the day. Maybe you're not eating the traditional 3 meals and 2 to 3 snacks like some people say. It could just be breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? Because you're busy, you might not have time to eat snacks in between. That's fine. Because of that, she wasn't as hungry at night. The second thing we worked on is helping her separate those emotions from food. And so she was able to kind of look outside of herself and see, hey, I'm eating this food because it makes me feel better after I've had a not so good day, but then I feel guilty afterwards. We helped her identify that for herself. Then we had her practice sitting with the stressful emotions and not feeling the need to do anything about it. She was able to process better and understand, okay, these things happen today that are stressful, but I don't have to let it impact my decision making. Then we helped her come up with a game plan for things she will do when she feels stressed. So she now has a toolkit. She'll go on a walk. If it's late at night, she will call a friend. She will do some journaling. She will do some reading. So now with those changes, eating 3 times a day, working through her emotional eating patterns, she lost 25 pounds simply by changing her mindset around food. and has maintained it since. And it's simply because she stopped focusing on doing another diet or another workout program and really focused on changing her mindset. Because when we helped her change her mindset and relationship with food, it was easy to stay consistent with healthy habits. And this is what's possible for you when you stop just focusing on the logistics of food and exercise and also focus on changing your relationship with food. The next thing you want to do is focus on mindful eating. Most people eat while distracted. You eat while you're scrolling on your phone, while you're watching TV, while you're on your computer working. And what happens is your brain and your body work together. So when you're eating while you're distracted, your brain does not fully process the fact that you've eaten a full meal. And that's typically when you feel hungry an hour or so later because your body and your brain's like, oh, wait, I think we're hungry again. Don't remember when we last ate because we were distracted while we were eating. So to eliminate that, you really want to take time to focus on your food. So a couple steps I recommend to do this is number one, sit down while eating. Do not stand and walk around while eating your food. It's not going to be the same experience. Sit down, put your devices, your phone, your computer away, and just focus on eating your food. Chew your food. Eat slow. Actually taste your food. When you follow these steps, you'll find that you feel more satisfied from your food because you're more connected with it. And I know this might sound a little woo-woo connecting with your food, but seriously, it's a brain to body connection. When you're eating sitting down, undistracted, tasting your food, chewing it, eating slowly, you will feel more satisfied. You'll stay full longer and you'll have a better relationship with food because you're actually paying attention to it and you're realizing and recognizing how it nourishes you. The next thing we want to do is heal our diet mentality. And this is huge because so much of our relationship with food is determined and tainted from the diet industry. So some things I see that need to be changed mindset wise are the I'll start on Monday mentality. A lot of weight loss challenges, diets, whatever, start on Monday. And so we feel like if we mess up or something goes wrong, we have to wait till Monday to restart. You don't need to wait till an arbitrary day. You can get started, get to making those consistent changes today, tomorrow, 2 hours from now, 24 hours from now. You don't have to wait a whole 3 to 4 days. Another thing I see a lot of women struggle with is seeing food as something you earn for exercising. So the thought that the more I exercise, the more I get to eat. If I didn't exercise, I shouldn't eat. And so feeling like you can only eat when you're active. So let's break down this scientifically. Scientifically, we all have a base amount of calories we should be eating, even if we don't move at all. Think about if you had a time where you were sick, you were in bed all day, you were still hungry. You may not have been as hungry as you usually are, but you still are hungry because as humans, we still need a base amount of calories to just survive. So even if you're not active, you still need to eat. The more active you are, the more you should eat to make sure that you're not hungry. So say that you walk 10,000 steps a day, you need to be eating more calories to make up for that amount of exercise simply because you burn more calories. So you have to replenish the tank. So scientifically, that is true. But even at a base level, everyone should be eating a certain amount of calories to just get through the day. So this thought that I shouldn't eat if I didn't exercise is fundamentally not true. Even if you're sedentary, completely sedentary, you still need to eat. And so the thought that I earn food through exercise, we need to change that mindset to I need to nourish my body so my body feels good, so I have energy, so I can enjoy my life. That's the mentality that we want to have. Another mentality I see that we need to change is that you need to do certain exercises to make up for what you ate. So say that you ate more than usual this weekend. You feel like I got to walk more next week to make up for it. I have to do more workouts to make up for it. You don't have to make up for anything. Think about it this way. If you want to lose weight, it's not about your day-to-day calorie intake. It's an average. So say that you're eating in a calorie deficit of 1,700 calories during the week. On the weekend, maybe you ate 2,000. You're still averaging about 1,800 calories. That's still a deficit. You don't have to then go harder during the week, eat less during the week. It's still a balance. Everything's a balancing act. So you do not have to out-exercise, what you're eating. You don't have to work out more because you ate more to make up for it. It's simply a matter of, yes, you should eat more if you work out more so that you're not hungry. But you don't want to think about it from the perspective of, oh, I ate more this weekend. I got to work out more to counterbalance it. That is feeding into a negative relationship with food. After you've gone through these steps, the next thing you want to do is build confidence with food through exposure. So some people say, don't go out to eat, don't have certain things in your house, just keep all these things away from you. But that doesn't solve the long-term problem because what if, yes, you don't have those things in your house, you don't go out to eat. What if you go to a social event? What if you go to your grandma's house and she has those foods? You now don't know how to control yourself because the only way you know how to control yourself is when you're in a controlled environment. We want to learn how to create self-control through exposure. So what this looks like is say, okay, I'm going to go out to fast food restaurants once a week. And I'm going to practice ordering a balanced meal that includes something that I like, but also has the right nutrients I need to stay full and satisfied and not overindulge on calories. You could say, I'm going to go to brunch with friends once a week, and I'm going to practice portion control with my food and maybe have one alcoholic beverage versus three. I'm going to order just the main dish instead of an appetizer, main dish, and dessert. When you do this on a regular basis, you practice having those good habits even when you're not in a controlled quote unquote environment. Even if you like certain desserts, say that you like chocolate, you could not have chocolate in the house at all, which when you're starting your journey, if you don't have a good relationship with food, it can be helpful to just control your environment. But as you heal your relationship, you want to start practicing confidence through exposure. So have the chocolate in your house and practice having one piece per day, one bite per day. And that's going to help you build confidence when you're not in your own home as well. The next thing you want to do is create new food rituals. And I'm going to share some of the ones I commonly see with a lot of women. So right now, one food ritual you might have is you come home from work, you open the refrigerator. You sit down and watch TV, you grab some snacks. You feel stressed at work, you hit the vending machine. You have a long weekend and you're waking up on Saturday morning, you go to a bottomless brunch with a bunch of mimosas and a bunch of food. So those might be some of your current habits where it's kind of feeding into you overindulging on food and not having the best relationship with food because you're tying certain everyday behaviors to eating more than it's necessary. So you want to include a pattern disruptor to change those habits. So for example, come home, change clothes, drink water, assess hunger. Right? So instead of us saying, I'm coming home, I'm immediately opening the refrigerator, we're going to come home, take off our clothes, get comfortable, drink some water, and then assess, okay, am I actually hungry? And now that we've drank some water, we can assess, is this hunger or thirst before reaching for an arbitrary snack before our dinner time. If you're feeling stressed at work, take 3 deep breaths, walk around the building, and then assess what you need after that. So you see, we disrupted the pattern of just going straight to the vending machine by instead saying, let's take some deep breaths. Let's go for a walk. Because after that, you may no longer feel stressed. And if you do, you'll kind of have the peace of mind to say, okay, now I can make a more informed decision about whether I'm going to grab a snack because I've done a couple things in between and I'm able to decide with a clear mind, do I need a snack? Or do I need to assess my stress, sit down, move some more? So by including pattern disruptors, you'll be able to change the behaviors you currently have around reaching for food to solve certain emotions, and then you'll find those new habits become normal. So now when you're stressed at work, you might just go for a walk. Now when you come home, you might change your clothes, drink some water, and go for a walk as well. So think about the current patterns you have around food, and think about how you can insert 1 or 2 things to disrupt that pattern and give you time to assess if you really need a snack or a meal, or if you just needed that quick break to de-stress yourself. And the next step is to get professional support because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people online who can give you a meal plan, a workout plan, even hold you accountable to those things. But there's not a lot of folks that are addressing your relationship with food, your mindset, and those are the things that actually keep you consistent beyond working with that person. Because you don't just want to stay consistent when someone's holding you accountable. You want to be able to be your own accountability person to hold yourself accountable for life. You want to be able to make good decisions around food when no one's watching, when you're at home, when you're at brunch, when you're on vacation. And that requires changing your relationship with food, which means you want to work with someone who can help you change that. And that's why inside of our coaching program, we have specific parts dedicated to help you overcome emotional eating and changing your relationship with food. And on top of that, we have our own in-house therapist who helps you overcome your mindset with food as well. Because we recognize that mindset is a fundamental piece that'll help you make long-term changes. So here's some common mistakes to avoid when trying to change your relationship with food. The first is trying to change this relationship while dieting. The two do not go together. You need to stop dieting, stop the diet, and then start focusing on changing your relationship with food. You can do that while making sustainable lifestyle changes, but it's very hard to change your relationship with food while doing a diet, like keto, paleo, whatever it is, because those two are opposite. If you have a diet saying you can't eat carbs, how can you heal your relationship with food that says you can't eat carbs, right? So we have to stop the dieting and focus instead on changing our relationship with food. The next mistake is expecting immediate perfection when you start making these changes. You're going to have some slip-ups. So for example, if you're trying to disrupt your patterns, like you come home, you just open the refrigerator, you might have a couple days where you come home, you change your clothes, drink water, assess hunger, like we discussed. But there might be a couple days where you still open the fridge first thing when you get home. That's okay, Patterns take time to form. It's a process. It's not an overnight solution. The next mistake is focusing on changing behavior without addressing beliefs. If you have a belief that I can't control myself around sweets, and you don't address that, you just focus on trying to control yourself around sweets, you're missing the issue. Because at the end of the day, I believe that there's certain cases where it's a band-aid or it's a cure. So sometimes you're just trying to put a band-aid over it by saying, for example, oh, I can't control myself around sweets, so I'm just going to keep sweets out of the house, keep sweets away from me. That's you putting a band-aid over it. You're not solving the problem. Because if you go to a social event or a party and there's sweets, guess what? You're going to overeat them because the belief is that you can't control yourself around sweets. We don't want a band-aid. We want a cure. And the cure is understanding what's the underlying belief. In this case, I don't have control around sweets. Changing that. Once we change that, it doesn't matter the environment that we're in, we have control around sweets because we've changed our belief patterns. So if you focus on changing your relationship with food, I promise the weight loss will be 10 times easier and you're going to enjoy food more because certain things don't feel good or bad. It's all nourishing to your body. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Fit and Fulfilled show today. I hope you walked away with practical strategies you can use to start feeling more fulfilled, energized, and confident in your eating habits and in your personal and professional life. And if you found this helpful in absolutely any way, I ask that you please subscribe and share it with a friend who you think would find this helpful so they can benefit from this information as well. And if you're a busy professional woman who wants to lose 20 to 50 pounds without strict dieting or without cutting out your favorite foods and while healing your relationship with food, then I invite you to apply for our coaching program, the Fit and Fulfilled Academy. In the Academy, we provide the coaching, support, and guidance with nutrition, fitness, and mindset to help you achieve lasting weight loss. All the details are down below. Next week, we're diving into a brand new topic that you're not going to want to miss. But until then, remember you deserve to feel as confident in your body as you do in your career. Take care.